We got 9 minutes. What was the NVIDIA earnings? Does anyone know? Was NVIDIA good? He said he wouldn't be on till later or something. Titties and ass. Which was? The Wire. I've heard of it. Which one? What's it about? Oh, makes sense. Yeah, that was when they were into that whole like, the seasonal development. They had Fringe by the same director. I liked that for its time. It was decent. Yeah, they had a lot of like different dimensions or parallel universes and stuff. Getting like, what is that? 130 plus 71, 200 plus 66, 56, about 300 buyers here. Gonna circle them. Hundred at 676 and the other 200 at 668. And less than a minute. And we're open. I took that fade of the buyers up 56 ticks on that runner, up 60 ticks, 70 ticks. Saw trade, take trade. $80 ticks. I'm just going to close it, whatever. Yesterday it came back on my short, so $500, not bad. Booyah. Got a volume imbalance from the aftermarket pop or pre-market pop, whatever, at 560. Bunch of resting liquidity on ES down at 5920 too. Looks like it's just a rip to the downside. Nice. Nah, it's good. You're welcome to feel excited by it. I just have to be careful because my kids are in the other room sleeping. It's going for that rest. Let me see that. You're showing Discord, by the way. Your shared screen. Yeah. It's showing the futures something. Yeah, that one. That was a nice fade of those 300 buyers there. Absorption after value area low. Very, very nice. I was just like, it's going back on these 300. I'll just hide behind their body and see what happens. And it was just like, whoop. Ah! Let the bodies hit the floor. Ah, the volume. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. Jeez. Jeez. Jazz. Yeah, that's my only regret closing it early, but I should have just let the trailing stop do its thing. I would have been safe. That's why, yeah, Yesterday, it was like the runner, it went back on the runner and just gave me the initial. So I was like, letting my emotions not just let the thing play out. But a win's a win. Nice. Yeah, it recovered that first volume imbalance. It created another one. This looks like this sell off is going to be continuing. I don't know though. We had a 78 seller at 595 and they immediately, okay, now they're coming back on that seller. Mm-hmm. It looks like, and you're hitting some buy side now. So these are some resting order buyers at 579 and 576, 69 and 41. So 100 could be some buyer absorption if it goes below them. You still have that volume imbalance at 560. Nice. Nice. NQ's making a lower low. ES is like flirting off the initial bout. So there's a little bit of divergence from ES and NQ right now. Probably going to go grab. Mm. Yeah, it looks like it's going to go recover that 550 or 5, what is that? 560 volume imbalance. The fact that it made another volume imbalance after recovering the first one aggressively in the same level shows the sellers are kind of strong here. We're coming back to the previous week high too. So this is the previous week high. We previously rejected off it yesterday in the open. So this is like coming back to that level. They just closed a 10-minute exactly on the previous week high. That's anything other than the previous week high on the volume. Not really. On Bookmap on NQ, you have 47 contracts down at 21.5. That's a big resting order that's been there for a while. 30 that entered on that initial like hesitation, pre-market hesitation before the drop. And so there's like 70 contracts down there. That's the nearest resting liquidity at 21.5-ish. We just hit that volume imbalance from the way up. I'd be careful long and, but you know, what do I know? The daily open is down at 513, and then you got another volume point of control at 496, Monday high at 488. So you got some key levels down below. We just broke the previous week high. Or now AS going for that resting liquidity at 593. Booyah. Yeah, it was nice to be done with that one short like immediately before the, or even as we opened. I was just like, whoop. Yeah. It was like basically you could take every comma bearish retest. It's pretty good. Yep, essentially. It bearishly retests the previous week high. Yes, has that resting liquidity to grab at 5935, 160 contracts. The remainder down of 300 contracts down to 5920. That's a hop, skip, and a jump away. NQ with the 70 or 80 contracts down at 21,500. Volume point of control from May 19th down at 496, and the daily open at 513. So those are the next stops. Next stop, downside. Boom, this has no bottom. Mm-hmm. I wonder how those 300 buyers at the pre-market open are doing now. Sweep that 55. So they grabbed that 335 liquidity, 240 sellers. Getting some laddered orders down below. Almost back at daily open. With everyone going online, any type of like retail shop is gonna be going the way of the dodo. With there has to, yeah, they're beyond ter- definition goes a little bit beyond what it should. Yeah, Timu, you got to be. I bought some lasers for some science experiment from China. I buy them because if I want to like know that I'm getting stronger than it's labeled, like it's labeled 5 megawatts, but I'm like, I want one that'll like be persistent beam. So let's get it from China. Because if you get it I'm doing some fluorescence experiment, so I need it to like I got some purple, green, and red lasers coming. No, I teach science. So there was this in Japan they have these weird bikers that like rev their engines to think they're cool. They make their mufflers extra loud. And then one dude did that outside my house. He didn't, let's just say he didn't do that anymore because I shined a purple laser beam in his face. I was like, you're not. Then he had to speed off. All they don't think there's a consequence because the Japanese like bite their tongue about it. But I'm like, I'm not Japanese. I don't have to do shit. I really think so. Oh wow, we just hit 405 sellers at 500. Somebody got liquidated. Maybe it was that 300 guy up top. That's a big player right there. Holy moly. 405 contracts. Mm, lovely. It'd be an interesting thing about judicial and executive. I am your father. Sister. So he has a sister. It's a shame how maybe they bought up top and they're just like, maybe if I write a positive article, people will be. So you came to that volume point of control from May 19th, 496, went to the Monday high and wicked off the Monday high after eliminating that 500 or 400 seller. That would have been a good theory to go long if it came back on that seller. Target eliminated, you know. Yeah, I wasn't interested, but I'm just not trying to give back anything. You said there's news too, right? Yeah, so 7 minutes is just like, I didn't, I needed a little bit more like curve fluffling around this region for me to think about it. It was too soon. No, that's like what does that mean? Agitation, commotion. He knows when you've been sleeping. He knows when you're awake. Yeah. It's like and, and what they have a thing in Japan called like Black Santa that'll come and like take your presents. so so if you're but they don't have that same, intonation, let's say. They don't think about it that way. So they're just like he wears like a black costume or something. Well, there is, there's that weird like Klaus guy or whatever, Claus, who's like this. What is that? What is it? Klaus? No, there. Yeah, well, kind of, but Santa Monster. It's like a, what is it called? Uh, there's like an evil Santa that like the whole sack thing was like he would take bad kids and put them in his bag. That's where it came from. And then they did a twist to make it like, no, he brings you good stuff. He's a good guy, I promise. But they have a festival where the monster comes with his bag in the streets and stuff. What's the name of that? It's in Bavaria. They have like, yeah, basically, yes. And that's where the whole tradition of his that's where his bag came from, was not bringing you presents, he's coming to take your kids. Like that was the whole like, it's called Krampus. Search it, Krampus. Yeah, here you go, Krampus, Wikipedia. An anthropomorphic figure who is in central and eastern Alpine. He's said to accompany Saint Nick on his visits. And he collects the bad kids. It has a picture. Let me find that picture. Let me get the. Here you go. That's the picture. Like, no. Help me. Should have thanked your mother, Jimmy. You you hit another 200 in sell side with this absorption recovery thing. Now 300 in sell side on this 2K. Came back to the daily open. Daily open retest zone off the 519 volume point of control. Doop doop doo. It's good. Have a good one. Peace. I'm going to go get some coffee and be right back. 116 buyer entered at 521 and is promptly being punished for their conviction. We'll just leave it open here. I'll go get the coffee. All right, back. Back. It's going. If you guys want to watch the stream, I'll leave the book map and everything. I'm just trying to share the resource of the book map and Atas footprints if you want. I just like recording my history or whatever of what's going on. It'll be there every day, by the way. So there's 112 buyer at 519 and the previous hit to the sell side at 512 and 509. So the sellers are still in control as of this moment. But there's a big battle going on with a lot of orders here at this level. They previously hit that 400 character, which I'll circle here. That's 405. Sellers at 500, that was eliminated because it hit into it. And so that's not somebody shorting, that's a liquidation. And so we're playing around in that region, seeing if we're going to go below the 500s, currently holding. You have that news. Another 100 added, so you got 200 buyers versus 200 sellers. The buyers starting to express a little bit of control off that 500 bounce. NQ swept all that resting liquidity. There's nothing above or below, which is why I'm looking at ES here, because you still have about 400 contracts down at 5920. So it could go grab that for a manipulation move. Ooh, speak of the devil. Punishing the buyers, absorption inbound. 279 buyer stop out of some late shorters up to 533 and then immediate fade. So every pop is just being faded. Sellers stepping back up to the plate. Yeah, let's go see what 480. So let's see what else is down here. So we bounced off the Monday high. We nearly got a bearish retest of the previous week high, and then we came back to daily open, and now we're below daily open, back at the May 19th volume point of control at 496. Next volume points of control down at 445 and 404, respectively. Looks like the bottom's going to drop out. Bottom drop out. Boom. Just hit another 134 in sell side at 480. $730 in sell side hit with that drop there. Negative 2K delta on the session, so there's currently more seller aggression. We're back at previous day VWAP. ES going to absorb that liquidity, those 400 contracts down there. Another 145 seller at 460. Buyer eliminated as sell side. There's just no bottom on this. Almost back at the May 16th volume point of control. Boom. Back at it. And ES just swept 100 contracts. There's another 192 at 59.20. Is it going to burp down and grab it? It's right there. Boom. Yes, grabbing that liquidity. Just grabbed it. Beautiful. There's a old order down here at like on ES at 58,886, but that's pretty far away. Next resting order nearby is 900. Now negative 3K on the delta for the session. Cannibalizing some of the late shorters here, but the pop or a lot of times when it pops midway like this is a short aggressively closing, and then the liquidations of the late shorters cause the burp up, but it's not actually filled with buyers. So you see, if you look in the contracts here, it's just a bunch of 0, 0, 0. There's like no contracts. So it's somebody's like liquidation up here that shorted over here that it causes the seller to cannibalize their friends. And that's what buyer absorption is. It absorbs the buyer and then keeps going. Refuel. 65 buyer at 420. But not really anything noteworthy. You're just getting these buys hit on the way down. Aggressive closes of the shorts, most likely. Footprints are fascinating. It's just like you see based on the context of what's going on in the moment, whether it's a buyer or a seller, like as in like a long or somebody closing their short. Recovering this volume imbalance from the drop here. I'll probably take the payout request today so that it gets approved before the batch on the weekend. We'll see on this account here. So basically just fade every pop, you know. It's like it's just the late shorters getting cannibalized and then boom, buyer absorption. If anyone has any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Order flow ratios? No, but there is a way, like juxtaposing. That's why this whole thing is 2K, set in 2K, so I can juxtapose each 2000 trades and where they're situated. So this 53 seller with this 47 seller, like you can see which side is getting rewarded, and you can, apply your own ratio on that with your eyeballs. But I don't like use. I know that OrderFlow's guy does that with his Ninja Trader indicator suite or whatever. I have that guy's course. I think I gave it to you. I don't. Wait, let me see the message. Did I? I did, yeah. That was in end of April. But yeah, he uses like ratios or something to juxtapose stuff, which is cool, but I just don't like, I don't know how to make heads or I use a bid ask ratio that's down here in a toss. If you have a toss, here I'll put like a arrow if I could get it. I don't know where the arrows are on this. Starting to come back on some buy side here. But yeah, the bid ask ratio is this purple one down here. This. So it shows the bid ask ratio. And so the sellers were getting less and less as we came down here on the Bollinger Band. So that last attempt of selling at that, there's divergence on the bid ask ratio. That's a whole indicator in a toss that comes with it. So I do have a bid ask ratio down here in the center. Oh, nice. So we hit another 200 in buy side here. Another 53 just added. A buyer entered there. They're fading him, 438. Just pulled back on 1,000. Or no, it's only been about 300. We were teetering on the precipice of 3K in negative delta, and now we're back to 2K in negative delta. A 106 buyer at 443 and promptly rejected. So they hit somebody's buy stop on a short or induced a buyer and turning it to absorption. Perhaps. Where are we at? We're coming back to the May 16th volume point of control once again at 445. So are we bearishly retesting this region or allowing people opportunities to get out and switch sides? We came all the way down to the 404 May 15th volume point of control. So we've just been going through, eating through 3 volume points of control. No reason to say that one is the stopping point. So I'd be weary buying this. This seems like a sell in May and go away type of deal. It's the end of May too. We created a volume imbalance on that rejection up here on the 1K. It's pretty smooth. If you're in line with the trend, you're probably having a good time. It's beautiful. Broke 400. The nukes on Momentum Master were saying something today on the 10-minute. So we could go recover the wick of the pre-market or the NVIDIA news pop or whatever at 320. Wick recovery is a thing. There's a little gap that you already bearishly retest up to the volume point of control and came back down through. So inversion, fair value gap, whatever you want to call it. Bearish super trend on the 30-second has been respected. That 155 contracts on ES at 905 and 901-ish. Looks like it wants to burp down and grab it. You just hit about 58 in sell side at 385. And regurgitated off of that. 355. Bearish div. Yeah, that's the way to do it, well, corn dog. Like, I just took that pre-market short and that was it. Because I know how my mentality is if I give something back. So the market will punish greediness. So I like being accurate. I don't need to be in a trade all the time. That's it. So that's like my 10th day straight green. So yeah. Straight and green. Yes. Oh, nice. Does it tell you the value of that? Like what the number of the order of that resting order is? The thing you're circling, which is a key thing about resting orders and bookmap, is how long it's been there. And that means that that's somebody's liquidation point from way up where it's generated up there at like 520. So it's like it wants to get there at least to eliminate the target of somebody trapped. Theoretically, everything's theoretical, but it's like, you know, you see it enough times and you're like, it gives you at least a target to aim at or see where fatigue kicks in the general vicinity. Sometimes they spoof and then it's like a defender. Somebody's passively defending that region afterwards. And it doesn't always get precisely there, but it gets close enough to where your interest peaks. I'll leave it up and I'm gonna just play a little bit of Castlevania in the mini screen. Boop, 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 boop. Like on ES, you had like that resting order at 902 and it never swept it and it started to peel out. So it's like kind of not always as precisely hitting every target. But it hit a bunch of those resting orders on the way down from 525, what I was talking about. Let's go to came back to the volume imbalance at 440 and hitting buy side here, 256 in buy side taken. Contract buyer just entered 450. Bunch of sellers selling here. I'm gonna zoom in so you can see it. They're gonna have a little bit of a retrace. Be a delta slingshot to see a slight reversal to the upside. Zoom in on this just so you can see the resting orders. Sellers stepping back up to the plate. 67 buyer entering at 440 could be absorbed. $106 buyer at 436. Coming back to the comma. Buyers getting rewarded. Looks like we're about to break up a bit. Punish some buy side now, recover some imbalance on the way down, perhaps. You got some resting liquidity at 525. $41 contracts. Granted, you have some 375 too, but we just had a battle break out of the range, so. I'll stay with everyone for another 9 minutes or so to just see how the hourly closes. Just grinding some gold and passing it over. Converting the sellers as buyers here. Possibly going for that 5.5 contracts. Just took about 250 in the buy side with that push up. Let's go back to the end screen, see if anyone has any last minute questions, comments, anything. All right, well, recovered. There's a lot of volume traded down in this region. It's the May 15th volume point of control that we consolidated and bounced out at 404. some divergence off the bottom. There was some money bags on Optima. You had these little chiking money flow and what do you call it? Williams %R divergences that played out back to daily open, perhaps, or really close to testing that at 513. Now just bouncing off the volume point of control at 496. And yeah, we haven't even come back into value area low just yet. This hourly is going to be a huge rejection wick, buy wick potential. 436 buyer, 436. So what part of your setup do you look at to see the 436 buyer? Okay, so I'll go back to that part. It wasn't a buyer, it was like a seller, but I think you mean like maybe there was 436 in buy side taken. So I'll go back to that then. So I'll just circle it. So every one of these candles is 2,000 trades, 2,000 trades. It's a 2,000 tick chart, so ticks are trades. So every candle, if you will, is an auction. And then at the end of each auction, there's an aggressor on either side. And then that aggressor is down here in the data feed on the left-hand most part of my side of my menu. And it says delta, and that's delta %, delta number. And then so within these 2,000 trades, there was 87 aggressors total. Imbalance. So the positive delta means there's more buyers than aggressive sellers. Negative delta means more aggressive sellers than aggressive buyers. So on this push up, when we broke the range, we took about, I said 400 because I combined this auction, which was 184, with the next auction, which was 179. So I rounded up to 400, and then we broke the range, and then there was another 87. It did a good job at keeping it break even, and I was like, we could pop up here, and sure enough, we went and took the buy side 222, and now we took another 170 in buy side, and so this bottom area, which has the delta, tells you the total delta inside of those trades. And it also, beneath that, says the session. So the overall session had some selling, so we went to the tune of 3K in sell-side aggression, and now we recovered about 1,000 of that in buyer aggression. So it trended slightly to the downside for 3K in contracts, and then, or aggressive sell-side aggression, and now it's coming back on 1,000 of that, forcing the stops of some of the sellers and or inducing some longs. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at when I see like aggressive, like if you see a bunch of like meandering and then it does some sort of significant amount above a range, then that's some also peaked interest possibilities. And then going back to the 400 guy, there was a 400 guy that was hit. I think I circled him somewhere. Let's go back. I think it was up top here. Hold up. Yeah, it was as we were dropping. Yeah. Alright. So in the 15 minutes after open, we dumped, and then we hit 500, and there was this 400 contract seller hit, and then we came back on them. And if you were so inclined to not be skittish on longs, you could have theorized a bounce off of that hit target, which was encircled there. Man, when I deal with virtual cable management, it messes up. Hold up, let me get my, where is that? The stream. Um, testing. Test. Here now. Enable filters for your monitor mix. I think I have these third-party effects that I paid money for, and then when they updated Wavelink, it messed it up, which is lame, but they want you to use their Elgato stuff. Anyway, so thanks for pointing it out, by the way. But the 405 sellers that were hit at 500, if it comes back on those guys, theoretically it hit a target. And in that moment, we were dropping significantly from the open, and I circled those guys at the very beginning of the stream up here. There was 300 buyers that entered, and then I shorted that on the fade, the exact opposite of what I was just talking. I saw it go against these buyers, so I shorted them, and then I made some profit, and then I just observed the rest of the time. So I took one trade, one shot, one kill, and I got paid, and then it came all the way down and hit a target of 405. And then you could have theoretically done the opposite if you weren't scared of longs. You could have taken the 500 bounce against that character and been handsomely paid, at least up to 547. But yeah, that's where I see those 463. And even if I was zoomed out like this, or if my screen is not legible to you, you can look down to the bottom left and see the total delta. So it hit 463 down here. And so even if you can't see what that purple number is, you can see the total in that delta bottom left. And so currently, where are we? We're coming back on some sellers. I don't even need to zoom in just to show you. There's 211 in the last 2K, and then another 100 that's now getting recouped. But yeah, so this coming back on 300 in sell side. And that was the hourly close. So let's go see what the hour looks like. It was a pretty nice wick. So now we're kind of testing the wick of the new candle. But that last hourly had a nice, pretty nice looking close for a theoretical reversal of sorts. So yeah, that's about it. Any other last questions? Should be like the AM is basically over now, so you'll have some shenanigans, so I'd be careful getting trapped in some shooting fish in the barrel zones. Boop, 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 boop. We'll just have to turn off those effects, unfortunately. So Any cool non-trading things you want to share? Well, I'm buying a round bottom flask, and I'm looking at some LCD heat sensitive crystals for a heat lesson that I'm going to teach. So I'm getting some liquid crystal thermograph sheets. And yeah, I'm teaching a thing. The theme is about waves. So we're talking about light and vibration and heat. Basically, everything's all waves. So I'm teaching a whole series on the first level of waves and color and sound and heat. And one of the weird things about heat, if you want to go into like the first time I was creating this curriculum system, I like when I got into a thing on heat, I was going deep on what is heat, and then I my brain works is I was like making a lesson about vibration, and then I realized like we're all vibrating, and then basically you have infrared, right? And then infrared is a type of heat that's generated from your body that we can't see, but it's basically just vibration. And so I was going from what is it? Conduction into convection, and then I went into black body radiation, and I was doing these experiments at this one school with black body radiation where I wrapped hot water, the same jars, doing a fair test with aluminum foil around one jar, white paper around another, and black paper around another. And ironically, the black paper one cools down quickly because black absorbs and emits faster. So that's why when you're cold, hypothermic, you wear like a silver blanket or whatever. So it's weird because you're reflecting the heat back to your body, but black absorbs and sucks it out. So if you wear like black clothes to bed, you'll cool down more than white clothes, for example. But yeah, I was going deep into what the heck is black bodies and stuff. And then the next day after I was doing these experiments, the school I was at had this cafe on the second floor of the school, and the whole fucking place burned down. And it was like in your face, like it happened while I was there. So it was like, you thought about heat, you asked for it, here you go. And it gave me, manifestation of 3-meter flames in my face, and I had to run out of the building with everyone. It was surreal. But yeah, I've had a lot of those type of things where you have like manifesting your thoughts. That's why I do tarot too. So it's kind of weird that yeah, let's create arson. No, it was during a spring break, so I was making the lessons for the next year, and then nobody was there. It was just the teachers and then the cafe people, and they didn't know what it was. It was pretty weird. They couldn't find the reason. And then they rebuilt the school, and we had to do it at this head office for like a year. Freaky. But yeah, I'm just taking those lessons and consolidating them into something. This one school wants to do a summer program, so they want me to instantiate it at their school. So I'm gathering the supplies. Goblins and dwarves. I don't think so, but I've been to a Tengu shrine. Tengu shrine is in Inuyama, and it's a haunted shrine. Here, I'll just see if I can pull it up. Tengu Shrine, Inuyama. It's not on any maps. Like, you have to ask, like, staff at a convenience store, but it has, like, this Tengu, the long-nosed demons that have, like, fans and live in the woods. But I went there with my friends. We were doing a ghost hunting channel, and we went to a bunch of places, and one of them was that. and my friend plays this Japanese bamboo flute. And then we went there in the daytime to scope it out, and then we came back at night, and they had these signs that were saying basically, if you come here with evil in your heart, then heaven's wrath will come upon you. It was like very weirdly phrased like that. And then it had another sign that was like, if you take anything from the mountain, you have 1 year to live. And it's like very direct, which is not Japanese style at all. It's just like, normally they have like mannerisms to the language, but it's just like 1 year to live. And so we were going there at night, and he played his shakuhachi in front of the gold-eyed Tengu statue. That was pretty freaky. And that was around the time they had the earthquake. So we, basically went there as like a test of fear for ourselves. So it was pretty freaky to go you have to walk 30 minutes in the forest alone. There's no lights or anything. So that was weird in and of itself to be like, yeah, let's go at 3 a.m. to this haunted shrine that's not on any maps and just walk into the mountains for 30 minutes. And then there's this other haunted tunnel where I watched The Ring in the tunnel. It was like 4D movie extreme because I'm watching the Japanese Ring movie in a wet, drippy tunnel. But so getting to the center takes you 5 minutes and there's no light. So you're going to the center of this dark tunnel. Yeah, so that one was weird because it drained the battery of the camera, and the camera was like, it was like we had a night vision camera behind us and then one in front of us. We had two cameras, and we were trying to see if anything would appear, and we were trying to induce it, basically, like come out wherever you are, like by playing The Ring or whatever, and watching that tape scene in the middle of the tunnel. And like, yeah, it drained our battery of the camera, so we didn't get any back footage, but that in and of itself was weird. But have I actually seen a goblin or a dwarf? I saw like a orb in my bedroom. That's the last of the three stories I'll tell. This one, I had a photographer friend who took photos, black and white photos, and she had a photo of a graveyard in Kyoto, but it was kind of out of focus and from a distance, so it looked like streets and buildings because their gravestones are rectangular, not like weirdly rounded like America. So I thought it was a city picture because who takes pictures of graveyards? So when I saw it up close, I was like, oh, that's an interesting take because she's kind of giving a message like cities are death traps or something. I don't know what she was saying exactly, but that's what I got out of it. And then she was like, yeah, I like that you saw that. You can have it. And she gave it to me. And I hung it up in my room. And then one night I came back from school for teaching, came into my room, which was pitch black, and there was this orb just sitting in front of it. Yeah, in Japan. And there was this orb, this ball of light just sitting in front of the photo. And I'm like doing a double take, like, there's got to be a way the light's coming in from up there. Like, what? And it didn't make any logical sense. There's no. And then I got goosebumps, and then it turned into this streak of light and like went across the living room through the wall. And then I was like, what? And then I had to like leave the house, and like I turned on all the lights and left. I was like, man, I can't. I just can't right now. But that was the only time I saw something manifest in front of my face like that. And I've had weird dreams, like, the sleep paralysis or whatever, but I don't know. I think it was like maybe a wandering spirit or something. It was probably like a wandering ghost that didn't have a graveyard and just saw a picture of one and was like, hey, what's this? And got mesmerized or something. unfinished business ghost or something. But yeah, we had a bunch of experiences. It was interesting time to be in Japan before. I've been here like 20 years, so half my life. They have like literally the place I live now is called like Bean Paste Hill. If you translate the what do you call it? The kanji, and it was like a place where a lot of samurai fought, and so there was this big battle here, and it's called bean paste because the color of that is red. So a lot of samurai died where it's like they moved the moved the headstones, but they didn't move the bodies. Like there's a lot of history. Tokugawa was born in the city, so the whole shogun and everything. There's a castle, like there's all this history here. You can go on roads where the samurai rode their horses and stuff. Yeah, I used to ride my sports bike through the mountains and stop and have bento in places where like Tokugawa hid from rebellions and stuff. And the emperor visited. It's like a secret shrine that nobody knows about. Like I like that like alternative place off the beaten path type stuff. Like if you know Naruto, there's a mountain in Kyoto called Kurama, and then that's another secret shrine that I did the hike for, but they have like a shrine to the gates of hell or something, and they have the god of Tengu and all these weird shrines. Yeah. The Nine Tails Fox shrine, but it's where like Reiki and their whole like, ninjutsu originated from. And I've been to those shrines, but you have to hike up a mountain 2 hours. It's like this really grueling straight uphill thing that not many people know about or do. So like everyone goes to Kyoto and everyone sees these main tourist traps, but I go to those like ones where you get to eat lunch on the actual water under a waterfall kind of thing. And so yeah, that type of if you ever want to go to Japan, I can show you like I could tell you where some good places to go would be. There's a lot of cool places that most people don't know about. That one's called uh, Kifune. 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 Here we go. It's in Kyoto, and they have like really good trees, and the roots, like you can eat like on the river. Like I've ate like right at a waterfall like that. And then you eat on the river, and you can hike up the mountains afterwards. And they have this Kifune shrine has this it's the goddess of water or something. So they give you this fortune, and then in order to reveal the fortune, you have to put it on the water and it appears. It's pretty cool. But see how they have like a picture on one of these? It had a picture of a Tengu. Where was it? Here. So they have the Kifune and Kurama temple. People take the front entrance to Kurama because there's like a gondola that takes you there. But if you go the back way, then you have those hidden shrines. So I've taken the back way twice. But yeah, if you're ever looking to go to an off the beaten path spot, this is a pretty good one. I don't recommend going in summer. That was a dumb decision, which is why I went a second time when it was cooler. The autumn is really nice. Kifune. And it's like weirdly a place where they build boats, but it's in the middle of the mountains. So that's kind of one of those mysterious things. Like, wouldn't you build boats close to water? And then the goddess of water's in the mountains, and there's all this weird hidden stuff. Like there's another hidden shrine there if you want to curse someone. It's like the shrine of curses, and it's just got a lot of weird stuff. So yeah, that I I, I taught at an elementary school where a guy who worked in the staff, um, yeah, something to aspire to. But there's a guy on the staff who lived in this one of the more famous shrines. Like all roads in Japan lead to this one shrine called Ise Shrine. That's also a place you should visit if you go, but it's got a bunch of like 400-500-year-old trees, like you would see in California or whatever, like the huge trees. But he was a monk at one of these temples, and went to like he was working at an elementary school. So I asked him all these questions, like, where do you recommend, what are all these hand gestures from, in Naruto or whatever? And he's like, oh, I'll let you know next week. And he would type up this report. And so that's how I found out about all these hidden places. He like hooked me up with all this knowledge. But Issei is really cool. You got all these like huge trees. It feels like you're in like a Ghibli movie or something. I went before the people arrived because it's quite popular. So I went and saw the sunrise there before the people were there. So it was like this, all empty. Yeah, I always say like I had the Yamabushi of a past life. Like I like mountains, so like the mountain monks, I like the mountain monk. That's why I got that in my icon. Like the white monk guy. All right, well, I got a early day tomorrow, so to finish out the week strong. I might not even trade this. As I said, I probably got to request the payout before the weekend, so it actually processes before the everyone else. All right, guys, trade